Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. Welcome to the session on dating and relationships. How's your Saturday going? Hope you've all had a great week. So, we're having dating and relationship conversations. Please share with your friends, especially those who are single. Please share with them. The reason why we're doing this is to share nuggets and tips that can be useful while being single. No one has all of the answers, but we can learn together, right? So please do somebody a favor. All right, so I will go ahead and bring our guest on at this moment. Good morning, Jeremiah. How are you doing today?
Hey sis, how you doing? I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's such an honor to
No
have you
problem.
on.
No problem. No problem.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dating and Relationship Conversations with Funke Oladele and Jeremiah Chase. We're doing this session mainly for people who are single, and there are people who are married that also benefit from this. Let's have a conversation. So my name is Funke Oladele, and started this dating and relationship conversation. Sorry, I've been having some kids this week, so I think I'm coming down with a little bit of something. So if my voice sounds a little bit dry, I'll probably be drinking water through the session, so you can make sure you're hearing me. Yeah, we started this dating and relationship conversation September 10th. And this is in preparation for my book launch, really. I have a book on dating and relationship coming out in November. So we're
Okay.
just getting the word out and also starting preamble conversation about dating and relationship, bringing people who do certain things that are very related to dating and relationship. And so today we're honored to have Jeremiah Chase, the founder of Sex Can Wait a While, with us today. So he's going to be sharing with us his thoughts and any inspiration he has, from God and from what he's done and past experiences with us to help in relationship building and in your single life at this time. So I'm honored to have you here, Jeremiah. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for your time. So we've started in the last 2 weeks. Yes, Sex Can Wait. Sex Can Wait a While actually is his brand. You need to check this guy out, actually. If you check on his page, he has Sex Can Wait a While page, and the brand is growing, is it's making impact, and we've got to stop talking about things like this, right? The voice of sex is very
Absolutely.
loud out there, so let's talk about not having sex, right? But
Yeah, yeah.
today, we want to hone in on the conversation. So the last two weeks, we focused on what to consider prior to dating, focusing on yourself, building yourself, and how to go from stage to stage, from dating and going into a relationship, and really building that foundation for great and godly marriages. We talked about some of the challenges too. So today we continue that conversation, but we want to dive deeper into when you're in a relationship, right? So Jeremiah, guy meets girl, right? And they want to be together. So they agree they want to be in a relationship. What in your opinion, what does it mean to start a relationship? What should they keep in mind, in your opinion?
Well, in my opinion, I believe, and I really speak to Christian people who are interested in this because I believe that God needs to be your foundation as well. Actually, you guys probably touched on this, but if you don't have it right with Christ, then you shouldn't be trying to get it right with anybody. There's beauty in your singleness, and you should allow God to basically release you to, I don't want to say go out there, but God will release you to, to giving you the eyeballs to knowing who your one is, right? But to answer your question, if a guy, just repeat that question one more time for me.
Guy meets girl, right? And
Uh-huh.
really, I think you want to talk about the foundation. That's totally fine. Talk about what you should have for yourself too, because that
Yeah,
builds the person that goes into a relationship with the girl.
yeah. So you said God meets girl and what?
And they want to start a relationship where they know that
Okay.
they like each other. Maybe they've kind of dated for a few weeks or months, they've gone out and they think, yeah, we want to start a relationship. We should, you
Yeah.
know, start a relationship. What should they keep in mind going into building a relationship together?
I kind of got to go back to, because some people get confused, because you said dating and going into a relationship, right? So
Yes,
those two things are different.
yes,
And this time, a day right now, people believe that dating is the relationship. So
yes,
you do technically create a relationship with somebody. You know what I mean? Like, say if I see the postman every morning, my relationship with him is seeing him every morning, but that's a level of a relationship. He's not, I should say, an acquaintance, you know what I'm saying? But he's like just a random dude, but a relationship was created. But me, based on being familiar, seeing him and what he does every morning, right? But because honestly, I have, well, like me and my wife, we didn't date, we courted. Okay, so just breaking down that difference is courtship is the intention to marry somebody. Dating, there's a lot of examples that people will give you. You know what I mean? If you ask 10 people what the definition of dating is, you're gonna get 10 different responses. But courtship is the intention to marriage. And you can Google it. You know what I'm saying? But dating, everybody has their own example. They may say, well, dating with a purpose. The origin of a date is actually a night out with a prostitute. And that's how it started. Back in the day, that was like, well, this is a a date. But nowadays, um, people are treating dating as the relationship. But to answer your question, because I know how it's set up,
I
I
like
should
that.
say if somebody is dating, right, and they want to go forward more into the relationship, I feel like that this too. What are your intentions? If you are, because a date is just an appointment, ain't nothing wrong with it, right? You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's bad. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Like this could be a date. You know what I mean? We set up a date and a time. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right.
An agreement to meet up and do this, right? Um, but I think that, so when going on to that relationship again, what are your intentions? And I feel like intentions should have been like, okay, why do I want to take this young lady out on a date in the first place, right? I have my book called The Indirect and the Direct Pursuit. Okay, a lot of men are direct. The indirect is for the women, where they allow that man to pursue them. The indirect and the direct pursuit. So moving forward, it's like, all right, cool. Like, why are you allowing this guy to take you out on a date? You know what I'm saying? I feel like things should be upfront of what your intentions are dating, right? If you believe in that, like, cool. Now, going on to a relationship to what? Me personally, I don't believe in boyfriend and girlfriend because it's not biblical. Find me a boyfriend and girlfriend in the Bible. I believe that God didn't call me to be Brandy's boyfriend. He called me to be Brandy's what? Husband. Bam! You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what real men do. You know what I mean? Just to keep it a bean with everybody. Because ain't nothing wrong with knowing what you want in a relationship. Me and my wife talk about all the time. Uh, she like tells a story. She felt like that she was prepping these men to get married, because it's really popular for people to be in a relationship with somebody. And it's like, you feel like you was in a relationship with somebody, and after they done with you, they get married. It's like you feel like that you're prepped, right? But also, going back to the conversation, it's like, all right, cool. Like, what are your intentions? You know what I'm saying? So, look, I believe that people are called to be husband and wives. So, people with the lack of knowledge of that, that's why they struggle with premarital sex. Because honestly, it's in a woman's nature to be an incubator, right? You give women something. Shout out to Miles Monroe. You give women something, and they give you something back. You give them a seed, and they give you a baby. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times we gotta know what we're actually getting ourselves into, but also we have to ask permission too. Like, I asked God, I said, yo, I was like, God, all right, cool. Like, I really like Brandy, but And I wanted to take her somewhere. I wanted to take her somewhere where it was like it costs like not no $2 and $20 to take her somewhere. You know what I mean? I asked for God's permission to do that.
Mm.
You know, like now I asked him that, right? I was the guy. I didn't. Everybody wants to talk about you know, your love languages. You know, exploring your love languages, right? But after you explore them, what do? We kind of give them out to everybody. You know what I mean? We let everybody know what our love language is. Everybody in a relationship that you had know what your love language is. But the Bible says in Songs of Solomon, do not awaken love before it's time. So there were some love languages that we awakened before it was time, and that's why we have some heartbreak. So if you awaken some love languages, you gotta learn to protect them now. And it's natural. It's a natural being to awaken love languages before it's time. You know what I'm saying? That's why we get heartbreak. And that wasn't God's plan for us too. Heartbreak wasn't a part of the journey for us to go through. But many of us, the majority of us, have been through. Who hasn't been through heartbreak? You know, if you raise your hand, go sit down somewhere because you're not telling the truth, right? So again, what's your intentions? What's your intentions, and what's your godly intention too? What did God say? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, I don't know if this is my wife or my husband. What did God say? What do you feel like God said to you right now? You know what I mean? Because a lot of times people are like, well, I've been in this relationship for years. They're like, yo, bro, like, all right, cool. What is it going to take for you to get down on one knee? If you're not ready to get that ring, if you're not ready to get the ring, then leave her alone.
Right.
Get out her face. I promise you, bro. We're wrapped because you're going to awaken some other things in yourself. You probably awaken new struggles. You know what I mean? Some things that you thought that you probably never do. Now you're doing it. You know what I mean? Because you tapped into something before it was time. You know what I'm saying? You tapped into something that you couldn't handle. You know what I mean? God gives you the tools and the keys for marriage, right? So you can handle it. Right now, after I do, you use those keys and tools. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of us think about it, man. Like we have been through so much just being in this lifestyle. And it's like, yo, like I remember when one of my friends told me, she said, Jeremiah, do not give this girl what you gonna do. Like, do not do to her what you gonna do. Meaning, like, one of my love languages is like gifts and stuff like that. Like, you know,
Giving gifts.
gifting. Yeah. I popped up at old girl crib. I mean, not her crib, her job. Well, she already knew I was coming because I had to give her something anyway. But she didn't know how I felt about her. I gave her this favorite fragrance that she liked. For the rest of that story, y'all can read my book. But anyway, my friend told me, she was like, Jeremiah, she said, bring one gift. Bring one gift. Do not be bringing all that stuff like you Santa Claus. I did not listen.
You were doing too
and I
much.
was like, no, I want to do what I want to do. Like, I want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like, you really going to know that the kid is feeling you. You know what I'm saying? You know?
You want to over-impress.
Right. Like, I dropped, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was on me. That was on me not being aware. Our love languages is out of control. We out of control with them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Some of us like affirmation. And some of us, we got to be mindful too. Because, look, somebody doing what your love language is, I was doing my love language by giving, you know, to her or whatever, right? You know what I mean? But some of us, we got to be mindful who we let know what our love languages is. Because they'll use that as tools to get you horny, as tools to get you in their bed, as tools to have a certain perception about them, right? But they just know your love language. You know what I mean? So sometimes you got to be mindful in protecting them. You know what I mean? But ultimately, look, where's this relationship going? You know what I'm saying? What did God say? You know what I mean? Because honestly, you already create a relationship, right? In dating, right? You know what I'm saying? For those who do believe in that, because I believe in courtship. So, and I get it. Everybody not gonna know what courtship is, you know, But honestly, I also break this down. My mom and my dad wouldn't say that they courted, right? They say that they dated. My mom and dad were virgins before they got married. They had boundaries in their relationship before they got married. Okay? So it looks like they did. It sounds like they courted, but everybody dates differently. You know what I'm saying? And some people that do date, it sounds and it looks like courtship because of principles and boundaries. You know what I'm saying? They just had other terminology for it, right? So, but yeah, like it's moving on to the relationship. All right, you know what? I feel like purity is so important, and both people in each party needs to know that what boundaries and how important purity is. You know what I'm saying? Because some people agree physically and mentally not to do, be in a pure relationship. You know what I mean? Some people think things are okay. You know what I mean? No, oral sex is not okay. You know what I'm saying? No, premarital sex is not okay. You know what I mean? You know, so what is your preference? And I love how, a shout out to my boy Celine Wright. I was talking to him one day, and he said, yo, you know what? He said, what's crazy is some people's preferences are principles. And I would say to that, some people's preferences are actually petty. You worried about his penis size. Petty. You worried about how much money he make. Petty. You worried about how tall he is. Petty. You worried about if he black or not. Uh-oh. Now people gonna start leaving alive. Petty. Now my thing is, how much of is the Prince of Peace in your principles? How much is the Prince of Peace in your preference? How much is, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it irks me, sis. It really irks me because I feel like people really don't know what they be doing. You know what I mean? But honestly, look, how many of us been in a failed relationship? Raise your hand. I've been in failed relationships. You know what I'm saying? You know, I've been in failed relationships before. You know what I mean? So it's just like, look, like I feel like if you, soon as you get over petty, then you'll get to God.
Tell me.
God wants to remove your pettiness in relationships. Honestly, like I can say, yeah, that's why y'all not married. But honestly, it's more than one thing why somebody isn't married, right? And honestly, to be really honest, maybe it's just not the season. My wife got married to me. I was 28, she was 36. I was 28, she was 36. Like, did she plan on getting married and having a baby at 37? Was that ideal? Is that ideal for a woman? For American women, any woman, any woman having an American, bump on that. Is that ideal? You know why? Because science says, biology says that, you know, you cutting a little close, you may have some problems. And they came at her for that. They came at me for that. Why would you lose your virginity to a woman who's almost 40? What people don't understand is, and I hope people are taking notes, you do not lose virginity when you do it God's way. It wasn't a loss. It was a gain, and it was exchange. So watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Tell that person to watch your mouth. The last time they say, yo, I lost my virginity when I was married. No, you did not. It was a gain and it was exchange. It's only a loss if you feel bad about the person that you married. Because there's a lot of marriages that are not God ordained. God will speak to you.
God ordained. God ordained.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Like God would not wait to the last minute to tell you, yo, bruh, she not the one. Why would God tell me that at the last minute? No, God, that was probably like God 50,000 times telling me that. You know what I mean? Because God was like, yo, when they said hi, I told you. Ooh. When you went out on the first date, I told you.
Talking to you.
When they showed you multiple red flags, I kept telling you. You don't listen. We don't listen. It'd be our fault for failed relationships, not God's.
Thank you so much. That was hot. Oh my God. All right. So there's a comment here and a question. You are touching on a great subject. And really, I like it. I like the way you broke down the difference between dating and courtship and being in a relationship. I break this down in my book too, because we're not talking about courting these days. And people are wasting days and years in the dating phase, with people who are just stalling, playing around, having a fling, and the relationship's not going
Yep.
anywhere, right? So we're waiting for something out of nothing, and that's why you talked about you feel like you date somebody, and the next minute you're done with that relationship, they get married. Understanding seasons. So we're gonna talk about that. Discerning seasons in your life. I think that's very important. A season to date and a season not to date, even if you're not ready. Is this the time that God has for you? And I want to tie that into having timelines, right? I talked about this in my book too, and even from my own personal experience. Sometimes our timelines are not God's timelines, and we're using it to box God in, and we're using it to hurt ourselves, because then we're going to be looking for somebody that's going to fit into that timeline, and we're buying heartbreaks for ourselves. So that's another topic that's come out of what you just said. But I want us to kind of discuss this question. Somebody asked, who should be the first to talk about intentions? And should it be before dating or after the date?
Who should be the first? Like,
To state their
it's not a
intentions.
race. Like, it's not a race. It's like it's not a you should be open about your intentions.
Both the
You know?
man and the woman.
Yeah, both the man and the woman. Like, because it's not a race and it's not a guessing game either. And it's not a weight game for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a weight game for that. Like, yo, like, no, like, your intentions, honestly, there are a lot of men. Let me give you guys some nuggets. Watch this. I'm gonna give you guys something. There will be guys that be like, yo, I dare not talk to her. I'm like, why, bro? Be like, yo, she out of my league.
Mm.
Now, I'm gonna get back to that, but this is what I was saying. Fellas, don't believe that any woman's out of your league. Mm-mm. No. Mm-mm. And I'm gonna say this, like, you ever seen an ugly couple, sis?
Oh my God, that's a funny question. Don't make me laugh.
You ever see
Oh yeah.
you ever see somebody that, like, you be like, yo, like, how you get with them?
What were they thinking?
Now, watch this. That's funny, right? But that's not our call. Because you can see beauty in somebody. Because after being with a lot of people and stuff like that, some people, they like, yo, like, I see beauty in this person. It's not even about what they look like. It be real stuff because we see it. So going back, guys will be like, yo, I feel like she out of my league. But I feel like guys say that because they know that they playing. Like, I got a homie. This is my brother. I told him, I said, bro, I would never introduce you to any of the young ladies that I know. Any of them. He knows that. It was one time where he tried to he wanted to talk to one of my friends, and I told him no. No. Like, yo, you stay away from her. I'm not playing. You an idiot anyway, because when she met you, you was with a side joint, dummy. Anyway, you still tried to holler. And I told you not to. Right? He didn't listen. And I didn't know until months later. This was probably like a year later. I ended up talking to my friend, and she was like, yo, she's like, yeah, your homie tried to talk to me. I said, oh, you should have called me. You should have told me right then and there. I would have aired him out. Because a lot of dudes know that people think that men are dumb. Men aren't dumb. Men are really smart. Because it's women that they don't talk to and women that they do. And the women that they feel intimidated by, right, is because, all right, because there's another part of imitation, of intimidation, meaning more successful than them or whatever, right? But we can talk about that too. Now, it's like you be like, yo, like, I just feel like that, like, she all about her business, meaning like, yo, if we get a relationship, that I'm gonna have to marry her. Men are smart enough to know that. I'm telling you, these men know that. That's why some of them only go for certain people and try to talk to certain women. You know what I mean? When women are like that too towards men. You know what I mean? You won't hear from them a lot that speaking up about that, but it be plenty of women that be playing around.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That literally just be, yo, smashing and dashing dudes. And, you know what I mean? Catching the dudes that will just like, you know, look, some of us, we do know a lot of emotional men. Men that always in love. Like that, bro. You told me you was in love with the last one. You told me you was married the last one. All of them you about to marry.
But not serious about it, huh?
You know what I mean? You know, so but look, like these are the men that be the women, they be leaving them just off of because they maybe found somebody, you know, whatever, you know what I mean? Plenty of men have been heartbroken. Like seriously. You know what I'm saying? You know, so but you know, the intention should be from both parties, you know what I mean? And it should be established. No, somebody should know solid things about you before you go out. Now look, all right, cool. You hang out with somebody. You know what I mean? You hang out with somebody. At least, okay, cool. At least by the time that date is over, that person know you gonna know whether you rocking with this person or not.
Right. Right.
But at least you have some idea where your head is before the date. Cause you can't get that time back, sis. You can't get that time back, bro. That's your time. I don't care. What? How long is a date? What? Maybe what? If you go out, if he pick you up since at 7 o'clock and he drop you up home by like 9:30, 10 o'clock. 3.5 hours. That's 3.5 hours that you can't get back. That's that's 3.5 hours he can't get back. Your time, that person needs to be worthy of your time. And it's not like, yo, you out here stunting.
Word.
No, man. Get out of here. Like, and if some stuff go left, you need to make sure that you have a good time. And that's why it goes back to always living in the beauty of singleness. Because there are married couples who got married at 19. What can you tell me about singleness you got married at 19? What can you tell me about singleness you got married right out of college? Like, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what can you really tell me about singleness? All right, cool. College, all right, cool. You know, like, I'll let them slide. Like, you know what I'm saying? But some people, they ought to be dealing with somebody during that time. So what can you really tell me about singleness? Because honestly, when you want to talk about singleness and you're dating, y'all be like, yo, this my girlfriend and this my boyfriend, but y'all really operating as a married couple. Where you at? You know what I mean? Yo, I do not like getting a text WYD. Do not text that to my phone. What you doing? Nope. 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 You know what I'm saying? Like now, like since I'm married, like my wife don't even like really text that. But it's just like that irked me when I was single. You know what I mean? Like because from the person that it's coming from, the person that's always asking you what you doing, like, come on, man, no, we're not doing that. No. Like, what are you doing? Like, your job is always to ask me what I'm doing. Maybe I'm being a little petty, but no.
They want to keep you company. That's what it is.
Yeah, no, I'm cool. So, but yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for asking that question from the audience and for answering that to Jeremiah. So I'm hearing you say the intention should be set right from the onset. Even
Yeah.
you can do it prior to going out. That's depending on how you meet. But at least that first meeting, you should set your intentions. We're not waiting.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be intimidating either.
Yeah.
It's just like, yo, like this is
Oh,
my life. This is my lifestyle.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Especially if you're saying you're a Christian. If you're a Christian, watch this, sis. If you're a Christian and you're a guy, you're automatically a gentleman. You can't be a man of God and not a gentleman too.
You should be. You should be.
You know what I'm saying?
But it doesn't turn out that way all the time.
You know? So like I just want to throw that out there. Not to cut you off though. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But you know it's not always like that too, right? You should be. You expect that it's that way, but it's not always like
Right.
that. With some of the people we're meeting out here in the streets. So yeah, thank you for talking about that. Knowing your worth is what would enable you to be able to talk about what your intentions are. For me, when I was dating, I don't play around with my intention. I make it known right from the outset. It's actually filtering people I spend my time out with. Like, I'm not going out to try to figure. I can assess people in a certain way, or based on your principles. I like how you talked about principles. What do you stand for? If you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. And you can't be going out with just anybody anyhow then
Mm-hmm.
to try to figure out somebody. Yes, worthy of worthy of the wait, and you're worth the wait, definitely. um
Mm-hmm.
that you need to craft who you are. And I like how you talk about being single. I think God's desire for us is really to take that time for our singleness. God really wants us
Absolutely.
for himself, like falling in love with God. And I had to learn this over time. The society wants to tell us when to date. When it's time to date, then we're out in the streets. We're out there looking for somebody to be with. But should we really be out there at the time we're looking for love? Do not awaken love,
Yeah.
before it's time.
Mm-hmm.